Good afternoon, guys and girls. This is a presentation about area of irregular shapes. One of the things that I need you to remember for today is that when we're working with irregular shapes, you want to break it down, figure each shape, and add it up. So just a little warning, we're going to be going back and forth between some PowerPoint slides and a smart notebook with shapes on there. So if it goes in and out, it's just because I'm flipping back and forth through presentations. Okay, so when you have to find the area of irregular shapes, the easiest way to do it is to break apart that shape into smaller shapes that you know. Like for instance, we've talked squares, rectangles, parallelograms the past couple days, and triangles. But also you might see circles and maybe even trapezoids. So break down the big shape into smaller shapes that you know. And then you're going to add up those areas at the very end. So remember, you're going to break it down, you're going to figure each shape, and you're going to add it up. So if we look at this first particular shape that we have here on the slide, we have one big large shape with a lot of different measurements. But if we break it into parts that we know, we now see that we have two rectangles and a triangle. So we can actually figure the area of this particular shape based upon breaking it down, figuring the area for all three of these shapes, and then adding it up. So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to start with this first original shape, and we're going to break it down. I'm going to slide this shape down so it doesn't get cut off on our screen. Then I'm going to lock it in place. Okay, so we're going to find the area for all three of those shapes. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to number each shape 1, 2, and 3. And then I'm going to calculate area for three of those shapes. Shape number 1 is a rectangle, and we know that we need to use base times height. So I'm just going to plug in what I know. My base is up here along the top. So my base of that shape is 7. The height of that shape is 4. So then the area of shape number 1 is 28 centimeters square. Okay, let's figure out number 2. Again, we still have a rectangle, so we're going to use area equals base times height. Okay, the base of this rectangle is right here, so that's 10. The height of this rectangle is 4. So the area of shape number 2 is 40 centimeters squared. That leaves us with our triangle. So we learned today that the area equals base times height, 1/2 of that. So the base of our triangle is 3. The height of our triangle is 8. So the area of our triangle is 12 centimeters square. So we broke it apart. We figured the area of each one of those shapes. Now we just have to add up our areas. So when we add all three of those up, oh, made a mistake there. 8 plus 2 is 10. Carry my 1. So that's 3, 7, 8. So the area of this irregular shape is 80 centimeters squared. Okay. Let's go back to our PowerPoint and let's look at this shape. So what I see here on our slide, I see a rectangle and a half of a circle. Okay, now we haven't talked about circles yet, but I will tell you that for a circle, and you'll see it again at the end of the presentation. When we're talking about a circle, we're going to use area equals pi r squared. And pi is going to be 3.14. Okay. Now, radius runs across your circle. We haven't talked about radius and diameter yet, but radius will be all across your circle. So, again, I'm going to number my shapes. This is shape 1. This is shape 2. Let's do the easy one first. Let's do the rectangle, because we know that that is area equals base times height. My base is 14. My height is 10. So my area is 140 millimeters squared. Okay? Now, my circle, I'm going to use that formula up there in the upper right hand corner. Area equals pi r squared. So I'm just going to plug in my numbers. 3.14 times 14 squared. So I'm going to take 3.14. I'm going to pull up a calculator over here. Area with a circle, it's always good to use a calculator. Sorry, you see a couple things flashing over here on your screen. Okay, so let me pull my calculator over. Alright, I'm going to take 14 times 14. That's going to give me 196. Okay, then go back down here and get my calculator. Okay, then I'm going to take that times 3.14, and my area is 615.44, but that is for a whole circle and we just have a half. So we're going to have to take 615 and divide by 2. So when you have a half a circle, you might just use 1/2 pi r squared as your formula. So let me go back to my calculator here, clear it out, and I'm going to take 615.44. One too many fours. And I'm going to divide by 2. And my half a circle is, didn't get that number fast enough, 307.72. 307.72, and that's millimeters squared. So that means I'm going to add up 307.72 because that's the area of this half circle, plus 140, which gives me 0.72744. So my area for that rectangle and the half of a circle is 447.72 millimeters squared. Okay, let's do one more. Alright, we see a couple of different shapes here. Let's go to our next slide here. And let's kind of break it up into shapes that we know. Okay, I'm going to really horribly draw a bottom line across there. And let's make this a triangle. So I have a triangle and I have a rectangle. Okay, I know that the whole bottom base of my rectangle is 12 centimeters. And if I know that each one of these individual sizes or sides are 3, this is 3 plus 3 is 6, 12 minus 6 is 6 here. So the base of my triangle from here to here is 6 centimeters. The top has to equal the bottom. Okay, so I have shape number 1 and I have shape number 2. Okay, now if I know the height of my rectangle is 4 and I know the whole height of this line here is 8, that would mean that the height of my triangle is also 4. So now I'm just going to figure for my shapes. Shape number 1 is my rectangle, base times height. My base is 12. My height is 4. So I know that my area of my rectangle is 48 centimeters. Okay, shape number 2 is a triangle, so I need to know this formula. That's why it's kind of important to know your formulas so it doesn't slow you down a little bit. 1/2, my base is 6, my height is 4. Filling it in like what we did today, solving for parentheses. Now we're going to take half of 24, which is 12 centimeters. So now I'm just going to add up my two shapes. 48 plus 12 is going to be 60. So my rectangle plus my triangle, that irregular shape, is going to be 60 centimeters squared. Okay. A couple of formulas that you might need to write down in your reader's notebook for today. You should already have an area of square, rectangle, or parallelogram. That's area equals base times height. You should already have the triangle, which is area equals 1/2 base times height. Area of a circle, which I showed you earlier on the previous slide, is area equals pi r squared, and pi will always equal 3.14. And then one that we haven't talked about, but we might see it tomorrow in our irregular shapes assignment, is the area of a trapezoid. So that means area equals 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times h. I'll give you an example of that one tomorrow. But please make sure you have all 4 of those formulas written down in your reader's notebook. If you didn't do your triangular word problem last night in your homework, remember you have that tonight as your homework. I will expect that everybody needs to bring one in tomorrow. Have a good evening, guys. Thanks a lot.